we'll get one of those to you. And okay, so we've got a video. Hopefully it will work, and see how we go. Thanks.
Jesus, should I be a missionary to Nerang or Colombia? Should I buy a new car or keep the old one? Lord, do I marry Michelle or Anne? Okay. God, I still don't know. Do I marry Michelle or do I marry Anne? Please give me an example in the Bible what to do. And Judas went out and hung himself. God, I really want to quit smoking. Speak to me through your word. And Rebecca lit off the camel.
Okay, a lot of people ask this question, Pastor Paul, what's God's will for my life? Okay, and it's a good question. And in fact, they say it this way, what does God want me to do? And I want to focus on that, what does God want me to do? So the what and the do. That's what I want to focus on today. It's a very common question. A lot of people ask it, and it's a good question. You know, what do you think God wants me to do? So everyone say what and do. What does God want me to do? And I want to start with a few key concepts. We've been talking about the journey of faith, and I believe that a decision or decisions that you make, for example, today, if you make a decision today, it will determine the stories that you tell tomorrow. Okay? Good stories and bad stories, the decisions that you make today. And decisions are important. How many people agree with that? Every decision you make is important. Who you are today is obviously a result of some of the decisions you made in the past. Okay? And I would suggest to you that what you will become, what you will accomplish in the future will result from everything you decide from, and I'm believing even today for people in this place today. Amen? Now, how many would agree? And maybe put up your hand. How many people would agree with me? Sometimes you have made a decision. Let me rephrase it. Who has ever made a permanent decision based on a temporary emotion? Okay. Now, I got to tell you, you can't remember. Okay. Perhaps you shouldn't have raised your hand because you might be sitting next to that temporary decision. Okay. Let's talk about relationships just for a moment, because that is a big one. God, tell me, who do I marry? Which person do I marry? And that's a good question. How many people remember the story of Ruth and Boaz in the Old Testament? Do you remember that story? Okay, for those who don't, in the Old Testament there's a story of two ladies, Naomi and Ruth. And both of these women, one was an older woman, one was a younger woman. And they both, over time, lost their husbands in a tragic, sad situation, okay? And so they came back to their homeland, and there was this man his name was Boaz, and the mother-in-law to Ruth advised her to go and pick up, because if you were poor, there was no Centrelink or anything. But if you were poor, if you were a widow, you could actually gather some of the leftover wheat after the harvest. And there are other things that you could do to survive. So I just want to say to you, Ruth waited for her Boaz. Okay? And if you're single or single again, if you're a male, female, she waited. And don't She didn't settle for anything with 2 legs, okay? Okay? She settled for, there was God involved in that process, and it's a really good story to read. And the Bible tells us that Boaz was a rich man, that Boaz was a sensitive man, that Boaz was a caring man, and Boaz was a spiritual man. And that equals a husband, okay? A good husband, okay? And I want to say that you've got to wait on your Boaz, ladies. You've got to wait on your Boaz. And we reverse it for the bloke. And don't freak out on Friday night or Saturday night if you don't have a date, or haven't had a date for 6 or 8 months or whatever, you know. You've got to be careful. You know, now I didn't marry Janine until I was 28. So, and I did date 1 or 2 people prior to that, but then I stopped and I thought, well, why am I doing that? Because I had decided in my heart that I wanted to go into ministry, and these people were not interested in ministry. They just wanted to do everything and anything, and I thought, well, I'm wasting my time. So I made a decision that I wanted to marry someone who had the calling of God in their life. Okay? And I've been married till 28. And I want to tell you, I started to freak out a little bit. And I'm just saying, don't do that. Don't freak out, you know, on Friday night. See, you can freak out on Friday night and freak out on Saturday night and come to church, but you're in church and you're not at the club and you're not at the pub, okay? Worst place to be. This is a good place to be, okay? Okay, there's lots of opportunity in this place. Now, look, you've got to wait for your Boaz. That's what I'm saying to you, okay? I'm trying to be subtle. Am I achieving it? Because if you go for anything that's got 2 legs, you get yourself in trouble. Yes. And you should wait for your Boaz if you're a girl, and if you're a bloke, you wait for someone else godly, okay? Don't settle. And I want to show you what happens. Everyone say Boaz. Boaz. You're going to remember this, okay? I want something up on the screen right now. Okay, because if you settle for Boaz's cousins, and his cousin's name is broke as, he's poor as, he's a lion as, he's a cheating as, okay, he's dumb as, and his brother is drunk as, cheap as, okay, and locked up as, good for nothing as, that's his mothers and brothers-in-law, and lazy as, and especially his third cousin, beaten you as, okay? So you're going to wait for your Boaz, okay? And make sure he respects your as, okay? Let me ask you another question. You know, making decisions. You know, sometimes we make decisions. How many people made a decision they later regret? Come on. Okay. Okay. Who's ever lost their temper? Don't put your hand up. Okay. You might have even lost your temper on the way to church this morning with the kids in the back seat, you know? You know, like, quiet! I'll kill you if you don't... We're going to church to worship Jesus! And you're going to love it, okay? For the glory of God, shut up! You regret, okay? You understand what I'm saying this morning, okay? You might have regretted maybe the person you dated, you know, mistake, or maybe a business partnership you decided to get, and you regret that decision. As a part of the journey of faith, we have to make good decisions. Okay? And for example, some of you are graduating from maybe university next year, and what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I saw that. I'll actually take a picture of. Some of you are deciding, you might be finishing up, you know, do I go to Bond University? Do I go to Griffith University? You know, should I study a master's? Do I get a job or get a master's or do a PhD? These are big decisions that everyone's got to make. You know, You know, like you might be dating someone right now. They might be in the room with you, so don't look sideways. You know, should I stick with this person, or hopefully they'll change over time? Do you know what I mean? And or should I wait for someone else to come along? Should I take another job? Should I take that job offer? How risky will that be? You know, like, should I stay with my current job? You know, should I buy an old car or a new car? Okay, and should we have a sixth child or get the snip? Okay, all decisions we're going to make. And on the journey of faith, our ultimate destination is Christ-likeness. And we're going to make some good decisions on the way. Is that right? And, you know, I've been reading about the millennials. Those who were born between 1980 and 2000. I love them. They're a great group of people. I've got some here. They're fantastic people and so many positives. But they find difficulty making decisions. And I thought, why is that? And behind that statement is they are the only generation now that have so many choices. Do you know what I mean? I was on the plane coming back from overseas on the A380, and I've got my thing out, and there were so many movies. I'm just going flick, 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 and we landed by the time I chose a movie. No. Do you know what I mean? You waste time looking and going through all your options, and you never make a decision. And not making a decision is worse. Do you know what I mean? And no one wants to make an imperfect decision, and that's a problem. And so we don't make a decision, and that's really bad. So today, in your notes, I want us to encourage you to make some godly decisions. So I want to build a foundation on our journey of faith today. And I'm asking the question, what does God care about in this whole area of His will? What does God really care about? Two thoughts, and if you're taking notes, I want you to write this down. God cares about the who. Let's have the next screen. Thanks. God cares about... No, not that one. God cares... No, not that one. Okay, maybe I missed it out. Write it in your notes. God cares about the who before the do. No, that's it. Everyone say who do. Okay, God cares about the who before the do. Now let me explain that. God cares more about you, okay, than what you ever will do in your life, vocationally, whatever you do. He cares more about you as a person. Okay? You know, for example, the Bible doesn't tell me to become an accountant. The Bible doesn't tell me to become a business owner or become a flight attendant or become a salesperson. It doesn't say that at all. But the Bible does say in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, what is God's will for my life? And what does it say? Let's have a look at the next screen. It says this. It says, what? Be holy. That's what the Bible says. God's will for your life is to be holy. That Greek word is agios. It means set apart. And followers of Jesus are set apart from the world. Not to be loners, but we're just separate. Our journey of faith is to become more like Jesus than the world. Okay, is that all right? Okay, so God cares about the who before the do. Okay? And who I am I a genuine follower of Christ? So if we ask God's will for our life, He won't talk to us about jobs. He will talk to you about your character, development, personality, development, and He won't ask you to leave your job, although in the scripture He did ask some people to leave their jobs. But first and foremost, He wants to see you develop fruit of the Spirit in your life. So who you follow is more important than what you do. You got that? Whoever you follow is more important than what you do. And I'm telling you, if we can follow Jesus. The second question that we ask is, what does Jesus want me to do? Now everyone says that. Pastor, what do I do in my life? What is God telling me to do? Well, I want to rephrase that question. I think the better question is, what does Jesus want me to become? Okay? What does he want me to become? So if we start with that truth, what does Jesus want me to become? That will lead you and me to the right do. Okay? He wants me to become more Christ-like, and that will naturally lead me to the right do that I'm going to do in life. Okay? Now, everyone say the